Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our Global TV Deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent, it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter, it's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much-needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
Together, run, keep going on, less process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So justify and I as a watchman, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Day or night. We gonna bust down Babylon walls. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down war and cry. Fight down. Me say Rastafari. War and cry. And do the righteousness. And we love Jah. And we love Jah. away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I say, watch a man, I run Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I should never hold thy peace while we penalize. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Prepare the way. Prepare the way for Rastafari. Fight down war and fight. Fight down war and fight. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah. And we love Jah. Rastafari, preserve all. And we love Jah. Me love Jah. Me love Jah. Rastafari, preserve all. Me love Jah. Rastafari. Yeah, the next song is going to be the last song for tonight. And then DJ Twink.
Good. I'm glad he is dead, was the word from the president for the former FBI director, a military veteran, and the special prosecutor who investigated Donald Trump Russia allegation. Donald Trump has now dived into the deep end of the pit latrine that he was circulating around. He has now gone into the deep end. But we're going to assess the ongoing war in the Middle East this evening, the global ramifications economically and otherwise, the Cuba frontier, the Jamaica version, and the US MAGA version. We're going to look at the problem Jamaica gets itself into with JLP, and the problem America and the world gets itself into with the MAGA people them. So we are at it. We are at it this evening again. Welcome one and all. Thank you all for joining us. To my community of party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, viewers, subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Debbie Jervis TV, good evening. Lynette Jenkins, good evening. Byron, good evening. Suzette Williams, good evening and welcome. Monica Wills, Beverly, Colleen, Karen Namad, good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome. Like and share the live for us, please. Well, I don't know what America hoped to achieve from Donald Trump continued mental decline on camera. I mean, America, this is not unfolding in a back room. This is live on camera. Gloria Morris, how are you? The meltdown of the president, the mental decay of the president, the all over the place. Because what you have to understand how the economic system works. The economic system, grandma, granddaughter, how are you? The economic system fluctuates based on what the president says. The economic system fluctuates based on what the president says. and what the president does. Now, Donald Trump, the unstable Donald Trump, all over the place. 1 minute I'm going to do this, 1 minute you're asking for help, 1 minute you're telling them, I'm not really asking for help, I'm just testing your loyalty. When a president of the United States, the so called free world, threatens war crime on camera, I told you, this is why we can't stay in Jamaica politics right now. Outer road is so nice. I always tell you that the American Constitution, nothing no really goes so, neither there's nothing called international law. Your Constitution is as sane as your president and its lackeys attached to him. Donald Trump is a clear demonstration of what I have always been saying, that the Constitution means nothing if the head of the train disregards it. And we always, the Israel one, we regularly see that from Donald Trump. Total disregard for the US Constitution. Never mind international law, that never exists anyway. But there are systems, because in international law, there's really no system to hold you to account. They will pass what are these resolutions, but they're just ink and paper. All of these resolutions passed in the United Nations Security Council, barring, say, for the one that they used to go to war with Iraq and Afghanistan. They're just ink and paper, because Israel have violated hundreds of United Nations Security Council over decades. But the American Constitution, which we know have system of checks and balance, like Congress have powers to check the president lawlessness. The courts also have power to check the president and Congress lawlessness. Violet Watson, how are you? But at this moment, Congress doesn't seem to be checking the blatant international law violation of Donald Trump. That brings the whole world into economic Armageddon, because that is really where we're headed. Because Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu think that if they escalate the war and put more pressure on Iran, Iran is going to back down. It's escalate for escalate. And this is where the economic Armageddon is looming if the Americans make one more silly move. Because Donald Trump is saying he's going to, in 48 hours, bomb Iran civil infrastructures, such as their plant for electricity, their grid, their water system, and all of that. That, under international law, is war crime. Under the Geneva Convention, it's war crime, because now you're not fighting the military regime of the country. You're now attacking civilian infrastructure, and that is war crime. The President of America is threatening war crime on camera. Congress is debating to give Donald Trump more money to fight an illegal war. An illegal war which Congress ought to have pulled the plug on Donald Trump. So the Constitution don't work if you have a rogue like Donald Trump. The Constitution only work when you have trained president like Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, halfway Bush, and all of that. But when you have a loose cannon like Donald Trump, who only understand New York street gangster style, it's really what you're getting, especially in the second coming of Donald Trump. Because now that we know that Mossad and the Jewish lobby controls the entire America political system, Donald Trump would have had to sign a deal with the devil that I will go on a war tirade. Because one of the things that he seemed to stay away from during his first coming was an all out war. He didn't seem interested, but wanting to come back to his second term, it looked like him signing a deal with the devil and him have to carry out the devil's deal. No, Donald Trump get himself in a something where there is no way out that America, for America at the moment, that will not show that America is either one, defeated, or two, have capitulated. I don't see America at the moment taking any of those two routes. A fight to the death, you're not going to be able to kill Iran. How much nuclear weapon America will be able to fire before Russia or China steps in? You see Armageddon after Armageddon. So it's a matter of how does America get itself out of this? Because for the moment, America and Israel is not really in the war anymore. Because what Iran have done is blind them across the region, so Iran have free range with them. Now, with the decimation of Israel and America infrastructure across the region, it is pushing both Israel and America to fight this war even nastier than they've started it. Because you know them started with massacring children. But hold on, make we come off a chump a bit. I want to pull out on a shit gun for me then. Hold on, pull out on a shit gun. The pigs railies, bros, how are you? The pigs railies have committed an unpardonable sin. The pigs really them say Iran is committing war crimes by firing missiles into Israel. Of course, you heard what I said. War crime. Don't be deaf to everything else in that sentence, but just zoom in on the word war crime. And imagine that coming from a pigs really. War crime. Now, these are the very same people who we've watched committed genocide on camera. Genocide that they even dance and video themselves and publish to the world. The very same country that attacked Iran unprovoked twice in less than a year. War crime. I mean, one should load up a shit gun and every time these four-footed animals in the region speak, shot them with shit until they suffocate. How could you all use the word war crime? I mean, You all have been committing war crime for 7 decades. Hmm? 7 bloody decades. You all have been committing war crime. And you have the nerve, Raymond, how are you? You all have the nerve to use the word war crime. You international criminals. You petty thieves. You child killers. A state of legal pedophiles. Use the word war crime. We should all load up our shit gun and shot you all into suffocation. Bastards. Hmm? Can you imagine these people using the word war crime? These people who started the war by killing over 160 children. Hmm? You know, I'm living in such a beautiful time where they have lost the narrative. They have lost the pity. Matthew, how are you? Nobody is paying attention to Israel anymore. Nobody gives them sympathy anymore. Everybody is praying for the hastening of the decimation of that barbaric entity within the midst of humanity. The last bastion of apartheid on this planet must be stripped away, must be razed to rubble. These people are evil and have the nerve to use the word war crime. You people who bomb schools, hospitals, refugee camps, children standing in the line for food and water, and you use the word war crime. Can you believe it? Hmm? We should load up shit gun and shot them. Errol Reed. Hmm? These people are despicable. Now back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said he have people line up to come help him. We'll soon get back to you, Andrew. He have people line up to come help him open Hormuz. Donald Trump a quarrel with everybody. Not to come help him fight the war, to come help him take the debt. Because when after Donald Trump pick out Maduro and his wife out in bed, Donald Trump became very emboldened and him say, wow, that's so easy it if you fucked up a whole country. Just go in, so take out a president and handcuff him. Boy, we have to turn this in a movie. Let's remove our strength that we mustered up around Venezuela. Let's take it to Iran to frighten the cloth out of them. What was a mistake? Hmm? I'm sure the 40-year dream of Benjamin Netanyahu that has now become a nightmare. What a mistake. Hmm? Because if you all think Iran was going to be frightened, now look at all of these things where America can go pack up round and round Iran. You know how far America have to take them can go now? Hmm? America call everybody, Remember big old America. America will have multiple football pitch per sea. America will have base and house per sea, under sea, above sea, all about a road, America pack up himself and go and make the East go stir up the world. And now, see the craziness of Donald Trump. Remember, this economic war, the attack on Venezuela, the attack on Cuba, the attack on Iran, is the attack is the attack on the Chinese economy. Bear in mind, don't get sidetracked. That's where all of this coming from. You notice that all China allies he's going after. Nah, man, how you do? It's all about the whole tariff war where Donald Trump start with. It was targeting the Chinese economy. The conventional war, Venezuela, the threat to Cuba, the war with Iran, it's all targeted at reducing the amount of oil that China get to keep propelling its economy, to deplete China economy. Keep your mind to that, Lynette Jenkins, that this is what the war is about. Do not get misguided that it is about anything else. Where you hear Donald Trump, Marco Rubio, Pete Hogshit, Caroline Bozette, um, who are the others? All of these people who regularly fraud when you put a mic and a camera in front of them. Forget all of what they are saying. This is an economic war against China. Donald Trump, the governor for the United States, because remember, Gavin Newsom is the president of the United States, so Donald Trump now becomes the governor. Hmm? So the governor of the United States is asking China to send military support to come open Hormuz. Iran, top ally, a BRICS member. The war that Donald Trump is fighting is fought against BRICS, is fought against BRICS major economy. But all of this is going so bad for Donald Trump because the Strait of Hormuz is not close to China. It's not close to India. It's not close to countries who are willing to pay for their oil in Chinese currency. America, do you see the depletion of the petrodollar? The war that Donald Trump has waged on the petrodollar. Because no, global north and global south, countries of the global north, America, all the countries in Europe, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Israel. Those are the countries of the global north. When you hear them speak of the global north, and South Korea as well. So Europe, America, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Korea, Japan. Those are the global south, the global north. Everything else in this world is the global south. Now, even your ally, global south, Japan, is paying for oil in Chinese currency in order to get it through the strait. So Donald Trump's own war waged on Iran turn around. Iran hold the economic cards, and this war is now turned around on the petrodollar because Iran oil still a sell. Russia sell oil like hot cocoa bread. Lord Jesus, as we talk about cocoa bread, this is where we now go recover from. I wonder if Black River Bakery I go ever come back to start the cocoa bread. Because Black River Bakery do cocoa bread, Black River Bakery cocoa bread tastes one way when no other cocoa bread in Jamaica not taste so. But that aside, Russia Isla sell, Iran Isla sell. But your friends them in Europe, Donald Trump, your friends them in Europe, who you and them at war at the moment, And them are going to feel the pinch, and we're going to feel the pinch of this, the major onslaught of the economic war. You ain't live sanction on Russia, and then so live sanction on for Iran as well. For Iran as well. Listen, America have no cards to play in this war. And especially, Iran have America to its suit when America does not have any direction. This is one of the best things for Iran in this war. America doesn't have any direction. America doesn't have any plan. America doesn't have any strategy. And now America got drawn into something where them lose a lot military hardware wise, losing a lot economically, losing political capital by you squint your eye. The political capital of Donald Trump continues to deplete. America is holding on for dear life. I told you from day one, America start a war that it will not win. Will not. Because fighting a war with posture and trying to frighten people can even make that frighten, make them give you a frighten lick. You ever hear about frighten lick yet, Donald Trump? Donald Trump, you ever hear about frighten lick yet? At that defeat America upon the battlefield. Now Donald Trump tell you, when Donald Trump take to the mic, he tell you everything. What Iran still a use and a shot down, you sending them out of the air if everything in Iran mash up Donald Trump. And there are Americans that still believe him. There are Americans that peddle this nonsense. But can Donald Trump really make it to a confrontation in Cuba? Because he's going to be bogged down in the Middle East for quite some time. Because if Donald Trump walks away, he will have to be dragged back in a matter of seconds, because there's no way that Israel can keep up a war with Iran. Israel cannot fight a war without America standing behind it. So they get drawn into something where there's no way out other than America accepting defeat. Something that I don't think they're prepared to do. So the economic Armageddon continues. The oil price, the food price, the inflation. The question is, how prepared are you? Because this is going to get worse. This is going to get worse before it gets better, because there is no direction or stability on the American side of things, and the Iranians are playing them tit for tat. Now, let me go to BRICS for a minute. Is BRICS falling apart, or should BRICS be restructured? Because given what is unfolding, the Indians have played treacherous betrayal to their BRICS alliance. For me, as I've always said, the Indians are fifth columnists. And I really think they should be kicked out of BRICS, because you can't be a BRICS member and want to have that cozy in-bed relationship with the Americans. The two don't go together. So I think BRICS should really kick out India. South Africa as well. I think they should go also under Ramaphosa. I don't see where South Africa really have power and influence in BRICS or show it on the global stage. But I think those two, I think BRICS should restructure itself, bring in North Korea, kick out India and South Africa, bring in North Korea, bring in Cuba, and other hardline countries that are not willing to follow America's dictates. Because when they when Biden put sanction on Russia, the American allowed the Indians to buy Russian oil in order to level out the oil price. Then Donald Trump gave gave them an order the other day to stop buying Russia oil. They were getting it at the $23 a barrel. No, because Donald Trump tell them to stop by them, stop by. Given that they're a BRICS member, Now Donald Trump lift the sanction on Russia oil, and Russia oil a sell for good amount of money, 80 or more dollars a barrel. The Indians, that has backfired on the Indians because them lose that $23 a barrel deal with them did have, and now them have to go buy at the high price, Barbara Simpson. So I don't think BRICS is going to be fruitful with India playing a major role in it, because them at two-time they want to be in bed with the US, and them want to be in bed because them and the Indians and the Chinese have their differences. The US tend to use them as an affront or a barrier for to continue to agitate China, and I think BRICS ought to reshape itself, remove India and South Africa, bring in Cuba, bring in Venezuela, bring in North Korea, and all of those hardline countries. We have anybody else to tackle on the international scene? But I would kiss Tamaya, because please, is it really worth case Tama? Now let's go to Cuba. The Cuban when Cuba had another blackout, an all island blackout again in the last few hours. This is the third all island blackout within the last month. All these as well are war crime, because these attacks are not on the Cuban regime. The Cuban regime and the American regime have no problem. It's all selfish behavior and selfish thinking. And this is an attack on the people of Cuba by starving them of everything. But let's go to an interview the Cuba foreign minister have with NBC, because Cuba is preparing for all possibility that could happen, given the unpredictability. And Jordan, you also follow the trajectory of Donald Trump's behavior. The two times when Iran was being attacked, they were attacked while being at the negotiating table. Cuba is at the negotiating table at the moment. Donald Trump continues to beef up his argument. So Cuba is preparing itself for all and any eventualities.
And joining me now is Deputy Foreign Minister of Cuba, Carlos Fernandez de Cosio. Welcome to Meet the Press, Mr. Foreign Minister.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I do want to start off by playing for you something that President Trump said about Cuba just this week, speaking from the White House. Take a listen.
I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good honor. That's a big honor. Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I can do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth?
Mr. Deputy Foreign Minister, what was your reaction to hearing that? Is Cuba bracing for the United States to take it in some form?
Truly, we don't know what they're talking about, but I can tell you this: Cuba is a sovereign country and has the right to be a sovereign country and has the right to self-determination. Cuba would not accept to become a vassal state or a dependent state from any other country or any other superpower.
Well, let's delve into this a little bit more deeply. Cuba's president released a statement that read in part, quote, "Any external aggressor will clash with impregnable resistance." Do you believe any action by the United States would escalate into a military conflict?
We hope not, but what our president expressed is what any country that respects itself would convey if there was a threat to try to take over a country or to try to dominate or control it in any way. But we truly hope that there's no military action. And frankly, we see no reason. We see no justification for military action against Cuba. Cuba is a peaceful country. We're not an enemy of the United States. We don't pose any threat to the United States. In fact, we wish, and we said it openly, that we would like to have a friendly and respectful relationship with the United States, with its government, and we've been developing it for a long time with the people of the United States.
And yet you heard those words by President Trump. So I'm wondering, is your military preparing for a potential engagement with the United States?
Our military is always prepared, and in fact, it is preparing these days for the possibility of military aggression. We would be naive if, looking at what's happening around the world, we would not do that. But we truly hope that it doesn't occur. We don't see why it would have to occur, and we find no justification whatsoever. Why would the government of the United States force its country to take military action against a neighboring country like Cuba?
So this is a remarkable statement that you've just made, that Cuba is in fact preparing for the potential possibility of a military engagement with the United States. Can you be more specific? What do those preparations look like?
Our country has historically been ready to mobilize as a nation, as a whole, for military aggression. We truly always see it as something far from us. We don't believe it is something that is probable, but we will be naive if we do not prepare. That's what I can tell you.
The U.S. and Cuba have confirmed that they are talking, but have given very few details. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is leading those talks for the United States. Here's what he had to say from the White House this week. Take a listen.
So they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge, they don't know how to fix it. So they have to get new people in charge.
So is the United States insisting on regime change in order to give Cuba economic relief?
I don't know what they're insisting among themselves, but I can tell you, in conversation with the United States and in dialogue with the United States, the nature of the Cuban government, the structure of the Cuban government, and the members of the Cuban government are not part of the negotiation. That is something that no sovereign country negotiates. I don't know how many examples are there of countries that negotiate with a foreign power their system of government or the nature of the government. I'm sure the United States doesn't is not ready to negotiate with another government its constitutional system, its political system. Now, the US government knows that the problems that Cuba faces are in a great measure the result of policies of the United States aimed at causing as much harm possible to the Cuban economy, to Cuban society, and to the people of Cuba, which makes it for any government very difficult to manage things and to get good results when a superpower is exerting such level of pressure, above all economically, on the country.
Are you saying that regime change is off the table?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about what changes you would potentially be willing to make to save your country. The embargo with the U.S. ends if Cuba does three things: schedule elections, recognize political parties, unions, and a free press, and release all political prisoners. Will you commit to any of those steps, Mr. Deputy Foreign Minister, in order to save your country?
Julian Assange is a political prisoner.
Let me be clear. We are in dialogue with the United States to talk about bilateral issues. We're not talking about prisoners in the United States, and the U.S. has the highest record of prisoners in the world.
But we're talking about political
We're not talking
prisoners.
About problems
We're talking about
in
political
the United
prisoners.
States or constitutional system. Well, the United States has a huge amount of people that are in jail for whatever reasons, but that have strong political positions. If we're talking about political positions, we're not talking about those in the case of the United States. In Cuba, we're not talking about prisoners in our negotiation with the United States. It's a domestic issue of Cuba. It is not a bilateral issue with the United States. And the US knows it. But there are many, many important issues of a bilateral nature that should and could be discussed between Cuba and the United States for the benefits of both countries. And that is what we are ready to engage with in conversations with the government of the United States.
Well, and going back to those potential issues, there is only one political party in Cuba, so currently people really have no choice. Going back to my original question, would you be willing to change that in order to save your country, given that it's one of the things that the United States is asking for?
It's a domestic issue of Cuba. The United States has only two political parties that can go to government. Are they ready to negotiate to have 10 with equal possibilities of getting to the presidency, of getting in Congress? I'm sure the United States would not negotiate that with any country. I don't know if they have the willingness to do it, but I'm surely they won't negotiate it. Cuba is a sovereign nation, as I said at the beginning of the program. And of course, it's something that is not on the table to negotiate Cuba's reality. Okay. And Cuba's problems are not the result of having one party.
When did the last discussions take place between the United States and Cuba, and where?
I won't go into detail. We said publicly that we're going to be discreet about it, and we're going to remain that way.
Can you tell me what the ultimate goal is of these discussions from your perspective? What do you hope to gain?
Our aim is to try to build a respectful relationship. The U.S. government, the current government, has said that it wants to make America great again. We have no quarrel with that. That it wants to have secure borders. We have no quarrel with that. In fact, we can help with that. That it wants immigrants that enter into the United States to do so legally, not illegally. And we have no quarrel with that. In fact, we can help with that from our side. And those are the kinds of issues that we believe are of interest of the people of the United States and for the government of the United States. We can work together to fight drug trafficking, to fight organized crime in our region, to fight threats in general in our region. And that's what governments and countries do with each other when they dialogue, when they have dialogue, and when they cooperate. We can also talk about business. There are changes taking place in Cuba today, in our investment policy, in the structure of a property in Cuba, in the way different forms of property work in Cuba, which could be of interest for the United States and for Americans who today cannot do business in Cuba because they are prohibited by their government. Those are issues that we can talk about, and we can find room for accommodation. We're not shut down, or we're not closed to having some accommodation if it can improve the relationship with the United States in those areas. And I'm sure there's a lot of areas in which, if we sit down and discuss meaningfully, we can have a lot of ground to work on, and for the benefit, again, of both countries.
Secretary Rubio is the son of Cuban immigrants. He has spent his career criticizing your government. In fact, at one point he was asked, is Cuba a state sponsor of terrorism? He said, without question. Can you negotiate in good faith with Secretary of State Marco Rubio?
We have a position, a long position, of having dialogue and being ready to have dialogue with the United States to solve our problems. And it's not only a long-standing position, it's the logical position. What's the alternative to having dialogue with a country with which you have problems? So we face dialogue as the natural, the logical, and the necessary avenue for us to discuss. Now, we also have experience of having dialogue with the United States, some with good results, but also some in which Cuba has fulfilled all of the commitments that we have agreed to, and yet the United States has reversed many of them. And the best example was during 2014, 15, 16, and even 17, in which we reached agreements. Cuba fulfilled all of them, and the United States, by their own recognition, broke all those agreements and said that they would not follow what they had agreed the previous years.
Let me say to the world, first, to all military veterans and guerrilla fighters globally, we need your assistance in Cuba. Cuba will be the battleground. And Andrew Holness, we're coming up to you on the sovereignty issue. Because a one nation in the Caribbean can speak about sovereignty and a Cuba. Because when you're sovereign, you not bow to the demands of another country. Cuba is the only sovereign country in the region when a bow to America demands, or if it hurt your populace. Sharon Powell, how you do? All if it hurt your populace. So we're calling on all fighters across the world. If you want to take a pop shot at America, assemble yourself in Cuba, because Cuba needs your ungrown assistance, because Cuba is preparing for a confrontation with the Americans. And how much illegal war is Congress going to allow Donald Trump to fight? But let me say to the international community, I see you're all very quiet when it comes to the crisis enforced upon Cuba by the Orange Juca. The Orange Juca president were wet up in a rain before and dry. I see you all are all silent. But let me remind you that without Cuba, this same Cuba who you've all been starving for about 7 decades, without that Cuba, a lot of you big old powerful capitalist country couldn't have made it through COVID, because we never have the numbers now, the technicalities and the specialities that the world needed at the time. Leonie Denton, how are you? That the world needed at the time. And remember, it was the Cuban healthcare worker, which the whole on wage war attack on now. Those are the same Cuban healthcare worker that assisted the world during COVID when America couldn't, when Britain couldn't, when Europe couldn't, when can another couldn't do it. It was Cuba. But the world has gone in deaf ears silence, Colleen James. Hmm? The world has gone in deaf ears silence. You know, in a country I talk about it. You know, in a country I must up and say, we're sending aid to Cuba. Hello, there's a humanitarian crisis, a man-made humanitarian crisis imposed on the people by the US, embargo on the US regime. Why is the world ignoring that? Hmm? Why is the world ignoring this? Why is the world not sending aid to Cuba? Hmm? Why the world is not seeing the humanitarian crisis that the Americans created? We live in a very fucked up world. Very. Because if I did China do this to any country or Russia, the headline would end deaf way. The headline would end deaf way. And all of a sudden, everybody gone into silence. Donald Trump can just walk around this planet and commit crime after crime after crime with the approval, even by loud mouth or by consent. That's what MAGA put the world into. No, no JLP come here. Hmm? Jamaica's problem similarly is because of the JLP. Because you all knew Andrew was bad for the country. Because a lot of you before the general election had a fallout and wasn't keen on Andrew. The campaign speaks loudly to that because Andrew had not done what he promised, or Andrew never cheat Ono, his supporter and party people well. So just like Donald Trump, who the Americans elected a known convicted criminal, it's the same thing with Jamaicans, where the people of Jamaica chose a thief, a conman, and a liar to continue. And then we expect any better than what is unfolding. U-turns after U-turns, lies and deception after lie and deception. It's quite a clear similarity between MAGA and JLP. The illiteracy and the deafness that they approach this issue with is staggering. Randy, how you do? Our Prime Minister would want you to think that he cares about the people, that he's one of us. But our Prime Minister lied to us, deceived us in order to get vote. And then after he get the vote, for getting back to power, he did a U-turn and collect his salary with retroactive. That means that him no lose a penny. Even though he start get paid September, October this year, he might get him back pay from June of 2023. He come back again in campaign through the whole election for 10 years. We have not imposed any new tax, which was a lie, but in base believe him. Cause you always say them walk on propaganda hit too. Shortly after the hurricane, we have the worst disaster we could ever imagine. And the same government that find ways to not tax you for 10 years is telling you that now that you have had your livelihood wiped from under your feet, this is the best time to impose tax on you. Given now we see what the breakout in the Middle East is, the food and the energy price rise. How secure are we is anyone guess. But don't be caught off guard and unprepared and don't have your food and whatever storage that we need, because the more this get out of hand, the more risky it become, and whatever the economic fallout, it's going to be in the long term. It's not going to be just a little blip. It's going to be something that tag around for quite some time. This is the same Prime Minister who campaign about the tax as soon as we're at our worst point. That's when the Prime Minister imposed tax on we. The Prime Minister again. Can the people, all when we there telling us, said, don't believe him, no go so. Say, I'm going to raise minimum wage to $32,000 a week. And we're telling you it was a lie, it was an election ploy. A holy pound of fall for it. The Prime Minister telling us that in this year, budget year, one was going to have a $2,500 rather increase, as opposed to for him 214% increase. And while the Prime Minister taking $28 million with almost $60 million retroactive, the Prime Minister is telling you, the people, that I can only increase your minimum wage by $1,000. Same thing where you can go KFC with. $1,000 you can't go KFC with. $1,000 are just 2 short journey bus fare. That is the problem with JLP voters. Just like how MAGA get America into shit pit. It's the same thing JLP get in because they decided to choose a criminal. They decided to choose a man which is all about him. They decided to choose a man who has been stealing from the country from day that to now. And there is not 1 inch of change. And he was given the chance to come back again. Kamala Harris Golden wasn't any Jesus, but certainly you have all chosen the Barabasses that was up against them. And we're going to have to, for the next 5 years, bear the brunt of our bad choices. That's why I'm telling you about policy. Stop vote. Because Donald Trump and Andrew Holness, none of you all who voted for Andrew Holness and Donald Trump voted based on policy. It was about the hype, the personality, and the gimmicks. And that's all on the vote for. None of you who voted for Andrew Holness and Donald Trump don't vote for no policy whatsoever. Me not have to ask nobody that. It's evident. It was the gimmick and everything that their voters vote for. And if we don't take politics serious at the time when it comes to electing who we want to put these big decisions in their hand, like Andrew Holness, will rip the Cuban healthcare worker from under our feet because he can afford to go abroad for medical treatment. So we can't continue to choose people who make decisions within their self-interest and we left a road a dry out. That's why I'm telling you all the while, it's important to understand the politics, to get involved and participate. Because when 60% of us does not engage with the system, we have ushered in the death of democracy by allowing minority voter to impose a majority government on us. They call it democracy anyway. Anyway, they say go on about your business. Listen, no outrage, Norman, not one iota of outrage. You remember the Kenya unrest. The Kenya unrest was over tax rises that are going to put the people in a worse off condition. This is what we say. Jamaica, the universities and the colleges that what them teach, especially those who go to law school in Jamaica, where is the fire in your belly? Where is the rebellious spirit that we picked up at law school? Where is it? Because you all are quiet. Can't hear a word. Well, we need to go chuck off in a scene because salt they divert negative energy. So the whole country needs to go chuck off in a sea when full moon. Forget rid of this spell where Andrew put pan we. Because we can't continue just a walk and give away power so. Because if Jamaica people participated meaningfully across the country on September 3rd, we would have had a different result. But we were left with the same old stalemate. And the environment are going to stink up for the next 5 years. Everybody know Andrew corrupt. Everybody know Andrew's a thief, a liar, and a con man. And the people say, we prefer such level of thief. And now we chose Andrew, and then Andrew walk and take instruction from Americans, instruction from people who've committed war crime, instruction from people who've committed unpardonable sin against children, taking instruction from a president who've threatened war crime live on camera. Are you serious? Are you saying we are stuck to America's barbarity? That we not have no backbone for stand up? Come and say, yeah, clap hand palm bench where they in a parliament. When I talk about the Cuba issue, there are some values we have what we'll stick to. A man is a man and a woman is a woman. You can say that? No. You can say that? No, Prime Minister. And I'll tell you why you can say that. Because when Biden was enforcing that up on you through the American embassy and otherwise, you went very quiet. You couldn't state your opinion on the matter. No, because Donald Trump is in total opposition to the transgender issue. You can't turn up in a parliament and knock bench and say a man is a man and a woman is a woman. But you never held that view when Kamala Harris and Biden was pressuring you. You now come round to the view. Because remember, you did have Vegas a campaign, the transgender campaign, you know. So it looked like Donald Trump allow you like a free speech. Anyway, globalists, one's gonna go to their bed, but me will soon morning. Me will soon morning. But if you see anybody on road, tell them Donald Trump cannot get any lower. Because when a president starts to celebrate the death of his citizens, I mean, if there's not an invocation of the 25th Amendment, America certainly will be going over the cliff with Donald Trump and his depleting integrity and declining mental health. Thank you and good night from Global TV.
Too long in our little ghetto, run keep going on, let's process. For children of Israel do really love rights. So just I and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I she never hold thy peace. What wrong is going on? Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon walls. Preparing the way, preparing the way for your people. Let's go. Fight down, war and crime. Fight down, listen Rastafari. War and crime and do the righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari. Save all people. And we love Jah, we love Jah, Rastafari. We love Jah, Rastafari. Save all people. Put time away again. Listen, yeah. Just as I and I as a watching man around Babylonian walls. Oh, children of Israel, I and I should never hold thy peace while we are penalized. Hey, oh, night. We gonna bust down Babylon gates. Preparing the way, preparing the way for Jah Rastafari. Fight down, war and crime. Fight down, war and crime. Rastafari, war and crime, and build up righteousness. And we love Jah, and we love Jah, and we love Jah, Rastafari. We love all, and we love Jah, me love Jah, me love Jah, Rastafari. Preserve all, me love Jah, Rastafari.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action.
So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.